Hello. I don't know if, like me, you woke up this morning to news that Matt Hancock, he of the wandering hands and the bureaucracy, said, "Oh, hello, how tickled I am! How tickled I am that I've got my hands on a little bit more bureaucracy. Oh, that's a fine one, Mrs." So Matt Hancock isn't going to have his own emails searched. Isn't that extraordinary? Because Matt Hancock is one of a number of government ministers who has been accused, it's been alleged that Matt Hancock, well, in fact, we know that Matt Hancock has used his private emails for a certain amount of government correspondence. Now, the guidelines to this are quite clear. No, they're not quite clear, they're quite precise. And they were drawn up in 2013. And they say it's actually okay to use your private emails for government business, or at least for government correspondence, as long as they avoid substantive discussions of government business, and as long as the decisions generated in the course of conducting government business are then made fully available. So if you're going to use your private emails for government business, then the guidelines say that you have to publish them in full. And you have to make that decision yourself as fast as possible. It shouldn't be up to civil servants to have to chase you. This is the point. Oh, chase me, Charlie! Chase me, Charlie! So, Matt Hancock, it's not time for games. It's time actually for honourable behaviour. I know this is a fleeting concept for Matt Hancock, but it is something he should be familiar with. He's an Oxford man. He's a Cambridge man. He's a man with a decent education. And he should have been up front. Up front. There's innuendo there, isn't there? Yeah, there is. So, if we don't have publication of Matt Hancock's personal correspondence, if it's not made available, and if it's not grabbed from him, and he knows what grabbing is, I'm grabbing, then we will never know. We will never know for certain that the £50 million contracts that were awarded to the pub landlord of the Cock Inn, innuendos flying here, no, missus, no. We will never know if the £50 million contracts for Alex Bourne of the Cock Inn were arranged through correspondence through personal correspondence had with Matt Hancock. We will never know. That shadow of suspicion will always be there, because how do we explain how a man, Alex Bourne, who has no experience in supplying and producing medical equipment, his background is in producing plastic cups and takeaway boxes. Tupperware. There's another tupping reference from Matt Hancock. I think goats and sheep tup. We will never know why this man, who has no background in producing medical equipment, was suddenly in a position to get a very healthy government contract, on the back of which he seems to have bought property. So, congratulations to Alex Bourne, but the shadow of suspicion will continue to hang over Matt Hancock, and I don't see how he can have any future while that shadow is hanging over him. Certainly any future in any other ministries, but maybe his groping behind a closed door has seen the end of that career anyway. So that's one thing that came out today. The other thing that came out today is all about the future of pinging, and now we learn that there's going to be a sort of relaxation of the ping code, and that people who are involved in food deliveries are going to be on a list And if they're on that list, then they're going to be able to have testing as opposed to pinging and isolation. Now, Oxford University has drawn up a report, which is published today. It's a shame it wasn't published a few days ago, saying that testing rather than isolation was the way forward. And the isolation, this sort of ping isolation, seems to me to be nonsensical. At a time when we've just had this Freedom Day, which is supposed to open our economy, we've got the pinging process, which has closed our economy pretty aggressively. And then we've got this random 16th of August day selected by the government for no apparent reason. We haven't had any form of reasoning for the 16th of August. It's just a day, a pinprick in the calendar. And so why can't it be brought forward? Why can't it actually be pushed back? You know, everything is flexible at the moment without very much information. So yeah, I've come across all this flexibility before. You know, I remember I remember that sort of flexible language when the generals took over in Greece during the days of the junta. And I remember, well, and of course I know from travelling in Eastern Europe, in countries which had been communist, how there's basically a principle that whoever shouts the loudest and last is the person you listen to. And we're rapidly getting to that sort of tyrannous wisp of a dictatorship here in the UK. This is the behaviour of dictators. This is the behaviour of people who have been long under the thumb of a dictatorship. And what happens, the reverse of this sort of knee-jerk rule-making without disclosing reasons, without justification, without sense, the response to that is that people eventually ignore it, and they find ways of getting round the law. You know, the prices in the supermarket are not the prices that you pay. Nothing is secure and safe after that. Everything is a matter of negotiation. We don't really want to be in that world, I think, but that is the world we are heading towards. Too much control simply breeds a sort of rebellion, a quiet rebellion by the people, and they would just get on and do their own thing, and gradually the law, as we uphold it, as we think it is right to uphold, the law will become meaningless. And I personally have seen this happen in a number of countries, and it is so difficult to rescue the law. It's so difficult to pull it back and to make the law relevant to ordinary people again. It can be. It's tough. It's a tough call. Anyway, sorry to be so dark about that early in the morning. Please follow my other little talks on Zontal Films Limited on YouTube, and please ring the bell. I have from this position here, I have no idea which side it's on. I think it's over there. It's over there. Is it over there? Or it might be over there. There is a bell. Please ring it, and you'll know when I'm doing another one of these things. Have fun. Happy breakfast, by the way.